Hi, I'm Simon Rushton and this is Taxi Chronicles Podcast. On this podcast, we spontaneously interview unsuspecting passengers with their permission, allowing them to share their intimate life stories and concerns. As our slogan states, real riders, real stories. Some riders prefer to be anonymous, while others ask me to tell their story later on. Either way, there are all genuine 5 to 10 minutes stories, so sit back and enjoy this episode.
Here we go. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider, another story. We've got a lovely lady here today. Very fashionable clothing. I thought she had paint all over her trousers, but no, it's the style. Little old me getting a bit older, so having to keep up. Anyway, she's a manager for TikTok, or agent for TikTokers. Very unusual. I didn't know you had agents for that, even though I'm a podcaster. So we're just going to talk to Sally today about what it entails to be an agent for TikTok and how she got into the industry and what motivates her. So, Sally, nice to have you here today.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
So, how did you get into the industry?
I guess after I left college, I really wanted to work in TV, and I tried that, and I really didn't like it. So I moved pretty quickly into social media, and then before really being a manager, I worked on a YouTube show. I directed a fashion show in the UK, and then that kind of ended actually at the beginning of COVID, and then I ended up becoming a talent manager.
So, right, just rolling back a bit.
Yeah.
You were on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't like it. What didn't you like about it? Did you do anything that we may have seen?
I did some like BBC shows, like First Dates. I did some like MTV shows, one called Just Tattoo of Us. I did really random things, but I didn't like it's like really like old school working in TV. Like you just have to follow the process. There's no like skipping ahead. And I just spent like 2 years making coffee for people basically, and I didn't really progress anywhere, and I got pretty bored of it pretty quickly. I just decided I didn't want to do it anymore.
So what you're saying there really is that TV is somewhat going to die a death to YouTube.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, that's interesting. So moving forward, what's your official title?
I'd say talent manager.
Talent manager?
Yeah.
And so how does that work? What's a typical day for you?
There really isn't one. In COVID especially, I just mostly work from my laptop. Emails, calls, meetings, but then every day there's something crazy, a brand deal, a shoot to go to, like an interview to go to. It's really just different every day, honestly.
Is TikTok monetized?
Heavily, yeah.
Is it? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really bad. I'm really bad. So the more views you get on that 30-second clip,
yeah,
the more you get paid. Is that right?
I guess the brand generally like asks for your average views across all your posts, and then based off of that, they would pay you like X amount of money. But if the video like happens to perform badly, then that's just like too bad. And if it performs really well, then they've got like really good value for money essentially, because you can't really predict how well stuff's going to perform. So they just pay you based on what your average is, basically.
And do you know what those averages are?
Well, the person that I manage, it would be, depending on what it is, if it's like a bigger brand, it would be 15k for one video.
For a month?
Just for like one video to go up on TikTok.
Wait a minute. I see what you mean now. I'll get it back to front. You deal with companies, brands, and put them on TikTok.
Well, I manage a TikToker, and then brands come to us.
Yeah.
And they ask us to promote whatever their product is on TikTok.
Ah.
And then we would post the video.
Yeah, so I did get it right. It's just the way I was thinking of it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how do you find these talents? Do you just?
It's I don't know. I spend a lot of time on TikTok anyway because I really like the app. It's really I really think it's really smart compared to all the other apps especially. So it's quite easy to spot people that like are recurring or they have like a really good engagement rate compared to their post views, or they've gained like a ton of followers really quickly. It's like it's really easy for people that blow up really quickly to just like die off just as quickly. But then I hope that I basically carry on in the same projection that they're currently going to make them even more successful than they already are. I mean, you're taking a chance like regardless, but yeah, that's the hope, that they'll continue to grow and be just as impactful.
So how long have you been doing this for now?
Not that long really, since March.
Oh yeah. Really since the lockdown.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Okay, but then I was speaking to a guy who works for the company who produced Call of Duty today.
Oh wow, yeah.
And he was saying they went through the roof because of the lockdown. I would have thought TikTok does as well.
Yeah.
TikTok did as well.
Yeah, because it's so easy to produce TikTok content from your house. Like, the nature of it is that it's all about your personality and it's not about like showing off like it is on Instagram, and it's not about like going out and doing really exciting stuff like it is on YouTube. So it's really easy to just like make content there. And because it's all based off of like trends, it's really self-sustaining. Like there's always something to do, no matter like if you're just sat at home for like the 10th day in a row.
Okay, so it's like when someone makes up a kick the lid off the bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
Yeah.
And then all the famous people get in on it. And then some nobody tries to do it with his belly.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So, how you work directly for TikTok?
No, I manage just like I actually manage 2 like individual influencers on the platform. We speak to TikTok though, because you know they look after their creators, but yeah, mostly I just deal with the 2 people.
And since you've been doing this job, what would you say that you've learned that you wish you knew when you started?
Gosh, so much. I think I definitely came into it as like a newbie. Like I didn't know how to manage someone or like what to expect even a little bit. But I think people don't realize like how hard it is as a job, like being an influencer even and being a manager. I was like prepared to like dedicate a lot of time to it, but yeah, now it's my whole life. Like that's just it.
So your phone never goes off?
Yeah, literally is constant.
Morning, noon and night?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's quite serious. Quite serious. And I was going to say, your partner doesn't ever tell you to turn it off.
They definitely do, but they're just as hardworking as me though, so it works out.
Okay, that's good. What made you feel that you can manage somebody? Because from the sound of it, you've done other work, but not management. So what made you? Because that's a kind of gutsy, ballsy thing to do. Think, yeah, I can manage people.
Yeah, I think I always like saw other people managing, and I always watched what they did and thought, well, I know I could do better than that, or why didn't they do this, or why didn't they do that? Like that's what I would have done. Also, I just get quite bored quite quickly. Like if I find something easy, I just want to do like the next thing that's really difficult, and that was being a manager, I guess. And yeah, I'm not bored yet. It's still quite difficult. So
what it is, it's fair to say that you need a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really good. So what kind of characteristics would you say it takes to be a manager?
I think you have to be devoted, really devoted, and I don't know, a lot of managers work differently, but I really like to work like super closely with whoever I'm managing. So I think depending on who the like client is, you have to like really make sure that you like on a fundamental level that you actually get on with them. Because your lives are like so closely intertwined that if there's really anything about them that you're not aligned with, like it would show up pretty quickly, I think. Like
their core values, or whether they've got a work ethic, or
work ethic especially, because it's frustrating if like you're putting in literally 100% of your life to them and they're not putting the same back.
So as brand manager, you find brands that you think will be interested in what your influencer does.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the influencer just has to present it right. So they just have to do what they're doing, but they don't have to do the aggravation of trying to find the monetization side of things.
Yeah, exactly. Before I managed them, they kind of did do that side of things. Like it was up to them to figure out all of the brand deals that they were doing. But now, there's also an agent who does like all of their brand deals, the sales side and the negotiation side and the maths and the invoices. So
it sounds like there's a whole new industry.
Yeah, it's huge, really. I think like when I first started, people were really hesitant about TikTok, but even through COVID, like the amount of money like people now are willing to spend on it, and like a lot of brands that we work with, it's their first time working on the platform, and they always come back because it's just like absolutely the place that you see the most results.
Or even more than YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah, just like the way that the algorithm works on TikTok, it's so easy to get so many views so quickly. So like on a YouTube video, you might get like however many, like hundreds of thousands of impressions, but on TikTok, even if people aren't liking your video, like millions of them are seeing it anyway. So it's a lot easier of a platform to be present on, I think, than others.
So you manage TikTok, or you manage the agents. Do you manage them on the other platforms? On the other platforms as well?
Yeah, so they're all on like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, like all the platforms, but they just happen to like be the biggest on TikTok, and then like all the other platforms are a bit more secondary to that.
Okay, but you want to try and up that level of all platforms.
Yeah, exactly, because people already know and already feel like really comfortable like spending money on Instagram and on YouTube. So yeah, it's definitely in like their best interest to make sure they're as big on those platforms as they can be as well.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Do you ever like, I know they do the content themselves, but is there times where you look at a platform and you think that, because TikTok's really visual, and like for instance, Twitter's not.
Yeah. Twitter
is very frustrating for me. You got to get the grammar right. You got to kind of catch, why. You just got to get it right. It's a lot more work, if you ask me.
Yeah, definitely.
When TikTok, you just smile, sing, and dance. Everyone's always dancing on TikTok.
I know.
Is that what it's about? Yeah. What is the theme of what makes a good TikToker? That's a good question. What makes a good TikToker?
I think they have to be quite like creatively inclined. Like it definitely takes a certain type of person to like watch a video and like to see what they could do with it. Like you could literally do anything. So to like watch or to like listen to a 15-second clip of a song and think of like 10 ideas to do with it, like I think you definitely have to be creatively inclined. And then also like I think to be a really successful TikToker, again, you just have to be like really hardworking. Like you have to post like all the time, basically.
Right, 2 or 3 times a day, kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
So how many times is that what you recommend? That's what your agent, your customer, your client, is that what you say to him or her, or is it like we expect you to rain with TikTok? Can you schedule the posts?
You can't. No, you can like save them as a draft and post them later, but you couldn't like schedule them for like a certain time. You just have to like manually post them.
So you must be really big on analytics then.
Oh yeah, analytics is a really big part of it as well, yeah.
So tell us about analytics. How do you work your analytics?
Well, we try and congregate it from all the different platforms to like, when we send it to a brand, to give them like a generic picture of the like audience, the scope of the audience, I guess. Like, brands really just care about like the male to female splits and the age range and the location. But
oh yes, those are the main factors, aren't they?
Yeah, but I personally think the best platform for like looking at analytics is YouTube, because
they can really break it down.
Yeah, and if you just read into your analytics, you can optimize your videos so much better to make them like perform so well for the algorithm that YouTube will just push them out so much more if you just like take 10 minutes to just look at what the high and low peaks are in your watch time on a YouTube video and figure out why people did or didn't like that bit of the video.
So I see why, and is that your role as well, your responsibility?
Yeah, I think like to a level I'm like creatively involved, I guess, because...
Oh, I see what you mean now, because if you're looking at the analytics, you've got to be able to transfer that conversation to your client.
Yeah.
And they've got to be interested in what you say and be able to work out, say, maybe I shouldn't have sworn so much.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get off the politics comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe we should change the time because most of our audience are American and they're from the West Coast, so we need to cater them for that time.
Yeah.
There's a whole big entity behind it. So basically you've got loads of little mini TV channels, or would you class TikTok as a TV channel?
I don't think so. I think there's more freedom to it than a TV channel. Because, I don't know, as much as it's like you're trying to like churn work out of them, like I think you have to like have some like level of involvement in their personal life as well, and like be really invested in their like well-being. So just giving them breaks whenever possible, I try to do as well.
I hear. That's interesting. So do you see it as something that you're going to carry on with, pursue? You see a career in what you're doing?
Yeah, I think it's the most fun and like fulfilling experience I've had working, I guess.
And you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, actually, before I came back to the UK in like June, but even before that, I was living in LA.
Oh, is it?
And we're planning to move back to LA, I think next year. But just with COVID and everything, it's been a nightmare to get back over there, basically. So what's living in LA like? You're on this TikTok kind of. Is Silicon Valley in LA? I actually don't know.
Or maybe it's in...
I think it's in California.
Yeah, it's
definitely.
in San Francisco, isn't it?
I think maybe it is San Francisco.
Yeah, the Valley.
That's where all the billionaires are, in San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was life like in LA then?
It's like sunny, really like free-spirited. And there's lots and lots of driving. But I think just the amount of work is the same really, but the lifestyle's quite different. It's also very expensive. Really expensive.
Were you, so you weren't doing this TikTok thing, agent, when you was in LA?
I was in LA, I was for a bit, but the person I manage is in the UK right now. So we started working together in March, and then we worked together for like 3 months having never met, and then I was just like, this is literally ridiculous, I'm just gonna come back to the UK, work with you for a bit until we can both go back to LA. And so I did a little bit of work on like TikTok in LA, but it was like virtual, so I guess it wasn't really the same.
Are there any kind of subject based set where you won't cover or you aim to cover? So for instance, if someone's doing TikTok and I don't know, they're doing it about, obviously you've got most of them are dancing as we said, but let's say someone's doing I don't know, well I don't really know much about TikTok, but I'm just thinking, is there things that you go for and things that you don't go for?
Well, the person that I manage, one of them has like a really specific thing that they always do. So we generally stick to that because, you know, it like works basically. And
what kind of thing is that they do?
well, it's just they just do makeup basically.
Oh, one of those girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially they just like make makeup videos. But then the other person is like not so specific. So I basically cover all of it. I think the only thing my like expertise doesn't extend to is like music, because I have no clue about the music industry at all. So
no, you can join. You can get in line with me.
yeah.
Okay. But I suppose so I was thinking niches like on YouTube. So everything's a niche on YouTube, more or less.
Yeah.
And this podcast that we're doing now, this episode that we're doing now, it's one of many episodes, hundreds of episodes, but it's not niche down to anything.
Yeah.
So someone might listen to it, oh, that's a great talk, I really learned something about TikTok. What else has he got? Anything else about TikTok? And it'll be like, no, that's the only person who got in a taxi for the last 6 months that worked for TikTok. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're just having to hope if they're skimming through they find another niche or what have you.
Yeah. No, I think we cover everything. If anything, I try and push them to do more than just makeup because we just want to work with as many brands as possible and make them really successful and basically be known in like any area that there is.
Are all your clients female?
No, one female, one male.
And how many people does it take to kind of do the whole managing? So you spoke about the agent, you spoke about yourself, spoke about the client themselves.
Yeah.
Is there any more people? Is there like there's some computer geek behind closed doors doing editing or?
Yeah. So, I mean, the woman that I manage, the team I guess is like me, the manager, an agent who like gets them all the brand deals. There's an editor who does their YouTube videos, and then the other person is again me and an agent, but they edit their own YouTube videos because they're just not like putting out as much content on YouTube, so it's easier for them to just do it themselves. And that's pretty much it. I really would like an assistant, but we're getting there. So
you know what you could well, I suppose it depends on what kind of assistant you want.
Yeah.
But what I do, because I used to live in Kenya, and I use people from Kenya who are a lot more affordable, to put it nicely.
Yeah.
And they do editing. They do the jobs that need to be done. But I wouldn't want to. But I don't want to do it.
Yeah. That's
you see what I mean? That will take a real time consuming, and you can pay them or agree a fee or what have you, and just move on from there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I don't know what exactly you look for, but then I may be able to connect you with some people.
Yeah.
And then it would be much more affordable.
Yeah, that's really cool actually.
You know, it's just, I suppose it's a bit like making Nike trainers, isn't it? You could make it in London and pay top dollar, or you could go into Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really expensive.
Yeah, and stuff. But but I always look at it, we're providing jobs, so.
Yeah, exactly. Can't complain.
It's funny, if we were talking about a night though, we may be singing a different song. Well, they should be paying them more.
Yeah.
In that respect.
Definitely.
So, on another note, what, you said you used to do some sports, is that right?
No, I did YouTube before this, but...
Oh yes, sorry, YouTube.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the YouTube and the TikTok? And this is going to fascinate me personally, so obviously I'm just launching myself onto YouTube.
Yeah.
Pros and cons between the two.
YouTube, it's a lot more time consuming to make content. Like you could post like 4 TikToks in a day, you could never post 4 YouTube videos in a day, like, and if you did, they wouldn't perform very well. Like the platform like appreciates consistency, I think, but not necessarily quantity. But yeah, I guess I would say like the analytics are so important on YouTube because the content is so much longer form that like there's a lot more that you can like gain from looking at all the details.
And does TikTok's content get deleted after a period of time?
No, it just stays.
So it just stays on that individual person's account like Instagram?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm with you. I was just thinking. So, but you prefer... So you're saying they like quality, like consistency.
Yeah.
And also, the thing with YouTube, you have to sit down.
Yeah.
You can listen to it like the radio, but like I listen to Joe Rogan, but then they talk about something that's happening on YouTube on a video.
Yeah.
And now you have to stop doing what you're doing because curiosity is killing you and go and see it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Do you, and this is very lazy, do you, when you like post, use one platform to post them across many other platforms? So do you see what I mean? This is always a big debate with my fellow podcasters.
Yeah.
What we do, we look at, you can go on Instagram and post to Facebook, Twitter, and other things all at the same time. But then other people say, no, you don't do it like that. You post individually because they have different analytics and algorithms, sorry. And how do you do it?
Oh, I think you should. I mean, like, you should be posting consistently in all of them, like however you want to use them. But if you're like promoting one specific thing, I think you should do that across all platforms at the same time. Because like, what that's going to do is just drive a load of traffic to whatever you're directing it to, and whatever website you're directing people to is going to appreciate that you've driven loads of people to their website, and then they're going to push it really far up in the algorithm, and hopefully it will perform really well.
Oh, so when you go on that Instagram and it gives you options, you want to tag in your Facebook and all the other things in as well.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it because they appreciate that you're bringing a lot of different channels in at the same time.
Yeah, and it also like, it sounds stupid, but it like ingrains behavior into the audience of like changing platforms to like listen to what you have to say. So if you did do like a brand deal, they'd be more willing to change platforms to go and see what you're like trying to sell as well.
Yeah, because they can see everything's interlinked.
Yeah, it's just like learned behavior. If they're willing to go to like Twitter to Instagram to TikTok to Instagram again, like they're probably willing to go from like your Instagram bio to like the link that you've put in it as well.
Yeah. That's interesting. You really up on this stuff. No, you are.
Try.
That's good. I suppose that's what you're selling your services well.
Thanks.
I was gonna. On another note, what's the impact you want to have on the world?
I think I really just want to inspire people creatively to like just do whatever they want to do and have faith in the process and have faith that it's successful, no matter what it is. Like, yeah, I think whatever your like shtick is, whatever you like doing, like there's always someone that's going to appreciate it, and it just takes like some time to find that. But when you do, I think it's really valuable and it's really rewarding on like both ends. So I guess connecting people ultimately that's it.
And if somebody's there and who's listening to this now and they're thinking, I need an agent, how can they find an agent?
I would go and look at all their favorite content creators, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube bios, and find out who manages them. And then if you see any like common denominators in like the big successful creators, or if you just do a bit of research about the company or the person that manages them specifically, and then just reach out, like email them, tell them like what you do, what you like. One thing I really care about is like what your goals are for the future. So I would say, yeah, like absolutely include what your goals are for the future, and then just send them all your social platforms, and the worst they could do is just not be interested and not reply to you.
So that being said, I know we did this anonymously. Do you want to promote your services?
I don't. Sorry.
Okay, no, it's up to you. It's up to you. We've been talking. I had to give you that option.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Okay. But apart from that, thanks. This has been a great interview and much appreciated.
Of course. Thanks so much.
We hope you liked that episode. Keeping in mind, we never know who we're going to interview. We post twice a day, 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. GMT. Have you ever considered the future economies to invest in? Why not listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories? Considering Africa has the fastest growing economies and population on Earth and has done for many years, it holds 30% of the world's known natural resources. We publish twice a week, Tuesday with a guest investor and Fridays talking about investment, politics and history, providing a clear understanding for any potential investor.